the nations do things that we do. We have all these other celebrations, and but what happens is they all have their cultural aspect. They all have their cultural aspect to how they do a wedding. Things that the Chinese, how they do a wedding, the Russians, Israel, and to be honest with you, we're already following the idea of how it was done as far as marriages and weddings and what do you call those, and receptions afterward. We didn't get that from the scripture. We got that from Esau. We came into the truth, and brothers still stick with it. Brothers go to weddings. But you know what? When you go to that wedding, when you go to that birthday party, is it an idolatrous feast? If it isn't an idolatrous feast, there's nothing wrong. That's what the most people don't get. That's what's been the Most High's problem with Israel, or actually Adam, from day one. It was all, listen, even the law, thou shalt have no other God before me. Thou shalt not make the likeness of anything on the earth, under the earth, in the air, in the waters, and bow thyself unto it. You might have a thing with stars. It might be like fucking Bootsy Collins. Nigga got stars on all over every place, right? And even him, that shit is baffling. But you got certain people that just got a thing for, like little stars, little snowflakes. Are you worshiping the snowflake? So that's what it all comes down to. So we were studying, y'all. We were studying Romans chapter 11, and we had gotten as far as, I don't get the verse, it's going to be 11 or 12, maybe even 13, about the riches. If the fall of Israel, right, meant the riches. Let me get it. Well, it's verse 12, right? Go ahead, Elisha, and read it from verse 11.
Romans chapter 11 and verse 11. I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? The Most High forbid, but rather through their fall salvation is come unto the Gentiles.
Right, through there. And so we read, we studied what that was when it says through the fall salvation. We're talking about, that's speaking of the nations and Israel having fallen, the nations were made sovereign. We went through the verses to show what salvation unto the nations were. And it's with the exception of eternal life and eternal kingdom, it's what the Most High is offering us. Sovereignty, meaning what? As a nation, free from foreign rule or oppression. That's what salvation, guess what happened? And so we went through the verses to show when that began, when it was first prophesied as a part of Esau's blessing, when Isaac gave Esau the blessing that he would be blessed by the sword, and that the time would come that when he came into his kingdom, that he would break his brother's yoke from off his neck. That was when Esau got his sovereignty. But when did that happen? When Israel fell. That's when the Most High gave Israel up for spoil, and all the nations that were set to be under us. We read that in the blessing with Jacob, the very same chapter 27 of Genesis. Let thy mother's sons serve thee, and nations serve thee. They were made to be our servants. But what happened? How did they get that? How did they become free from Israelite rule? Through our disobedience. So that's what that verse was talking about. Then go ahead, read the next one. Verse 12 again.
Verse 12. Now if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness?
So this is what we were involved in doing. We were involved in the reading, because this is the issue with this chapter. It's the same with every chapter, but I put a little bit more emphasis on this one because brothers over the years have been so given to just wanting to break it down, and people really not understand according to the scriptures that everything in this chapter Paul is citing someplace else. From the beginning of the chapter all the way to the end. Paul is citing other places where he's getting this. People think Paul is coming up with this, but Paul is not coming up with this. Paul is citing, like when it said to make the verse 11, but rather through their fall, salvation is coming to the Gentiles for to provoke them to jealousy. Where is that first cited? That's Deuteronomy chapter 32. He's citing Moses. You have provoked me to jealousy, which those which are not of God, I will provoke you with those which are not a people. I will make you jealous with a foolish nation. That's where he's drawing that from. So we went to verse 13, verse 12, and we started reading. Verse 12, literally, I'm going to tell you this. We started reading verse 12, and what were we doing? We were chronicling how as Israel went falling little by little, our monetary wealth went to the nation that conquered. So we started with, what was it, 2 Kings chapter 15, and we read about Tiglath-Pileser. We read in chapter 16 about continuing Tiglath-Pileser. We read in chapter 17 about Shalmaneser. We read in chapter 18 about Shalmaneser and Sennacherib. That was all the northern kingdom, little by little being chipped away. Then the kingdom of Judah started doing the same thing. And that's where we left off. What we're going to go read now. What are we reading? We're reading how our riches got taken. What does it mean when it says through their fall? Now if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles. What does that mean? That literally means once the Most High gave us up to the nations for spoil, we lost our monetary wealth and we lost the richer things. We're still losing. We're losing the richer things of our culture and who it is we are. You name it, Esau does it now. Who's the damn king of? I wonder who is the king of pop now. It's probably damn Justin, what's his name, Timberlake.
Yep.
He's the king of fucking R&B now, obviously. Obviously, he went and did what Marvin Gaye couldn't, what Sam Cooke couldn't. Well, you know what I mean? When you say R&B, that's a hell of a title.
Exactly.
Do you know whose shoes you say you're walking in and have superseded Otis Redding?
Al Green.
Al fucking man, come on, right? Al Green. All of my Charlie Wilson from the Gap Band. Because, yeah, he was a crooner, too. He wasn't just only getting bombs dropped on his ass. Right? You got to drop the bomb on me. He was doing some crooning, some slow stuff. Lionel Richie threw his little bit in there with Dinah Ross, right? In This Love. And all them damn slow songs, love songs that Lionel Richie and the Commodores wrote. Think about that, huh? So little by little, this nigga Eminem is supposed to be king of the rappers, and everybody knows it's Gil Scott-Heron and them brothers, the last poets. Hands down. Them are the greatest rappers ever, and the fathers of it. Not anymore. You got, so what am I trying to show you? The richness, it's not just gold and silver, it's that spirit that nobody could duplicate. Everybody, you know, the blues players. I'm getting tired of seeing all the blues players on stage with these Edomites singing the blues. Like George Carlin, the Edomite comedian, said, "What are you doing singing the blues? We give people the blues." Even he said that. He got tired of listening to white folks. "Oh, I got the blues." Y'all got to look that clip up. He said, "What you guys doing?" Because he grew up in Chicago with a bunch of niggas. He's like, "We give people the blues, motherfucker. Stay in your lane." Sure. But guess what that is? That's a part of what you lost. So instead of being allowed to open up schools and keep that legacy going on and jazz, right, and all that great stuff, they always ended up in private sessions with them Edomites and teaching Bonnie Raitt and teaching this person and teaching that person. Until now, you say blues and people think of Bonnie Raitt and Eric Clapton. They don't even think of Big Mama Thornton. They don't even think of Bobby Blue Bland. That's how it is, huh? Yeah, we're still losing. The nations are dancing. They couldn't wait to get a nigga to a white boy could do 2 or 3 steps before they put his ass in the movie. Break dance. Now he's the break dancer, he's the pop locker, he's the street dancer and kid, fought himself from ruin to give me a damn break. He went to fucking dancing school. Then he came to the streets because they couldn't teach what people really like to watch in those schools. They didn't teach jazz and Juilliard. didn't teach you the blues. You learned that shit from making your own guitar. You learned that from being so damn poor that you got to take wood from the field that you're sharecropping in and making a damn guitar. That's how them brothers got it, huh? They was making guitars. You want to see some cold ass musicians? There's a Colombian guy. He takes junk and trash and makes instruments for children, and then teaches them to play them. And they're the baddest instrumentalists you'll ever see at their age, because they're broke ass poor and they're getting scraps and they're so damn glad. But guess what comes through that? That poverty, that spirit. Everything that we are. You hear what I'm saying? Esau and all the nations have stolen it. That's people be thinking, when you say riches, they think about wealth or monetary wealth. But what about the things that you can't put a price on? Like a voice like Mahalia Jackson, like a voice like Jackie Wilson, something that you can't put a price on it, and something that like this innate ability, like Duke Ellington or Oscar Peterson on the piano, or these cats on the saxophone and the trumpet. You can't put a price on that. But those are the riches that we lost to all the nations. Now you got the Chinese. You got the Chinese. Y'all didn't see them Chinese boy groups now, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Chinese girl groups. These is the new Supremes and the new In Vogue, right? Them are the two girl groups that I really like. I like, of course, most of the girl groups from the 60s on back. They was all cold. But in the modern times, I've only ever liked really In Vogue. In Vogue, they really could sing, right? Natalie Cole, man, Nat King Cole's daughter.
She's phenomenal.
Huh?
I got her on vinyl. She's amazing.
Who?
Natalie Cole is amazing, bro.
Brother, she's bad. She's bad, man. Angela Bofield, Phyllis Hyman. Just cats there. You don't play Destiny's Child and Beyonce and whatever these people's name is. They don't hold it. They lost it. Before I started class, I was listening to this damn white boy group. I was like, damn, they made better. And it was from the 70s. This group called Ace. Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm a Yatia, but I'm thinking I'm a Yatia or I'm a Yatizak, because all of this I'm a Yat got me all confused. But go ahead, Art.
The Japanese even got a Chicano culture. They got the lowriders.
No way.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Now, thank you for that, Art, because I was heading to that. That's the truth. Everybody's taking it, Art. That's what I'm trying to show you. The things that you can't put a price on. The things that you can't put a price on because they're produced by what? By the Spirit. They're produced by the Spirit of the people. They came about by the circumstance that the people were under. And so for other people to listen to it with such, amazement, to come back and recreate it and reproduce it, but by what? By artificial means. They didn't go through what we went through that produced that. Probably listening to, brother, you want to hear some cold ass music? I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Them mariachis be getting down.
Yeah.
They be getting down. Like I was listening to this one song, La Bikini. I don't know if you know about that. I'm Yati, Luis Miguel. Now he's not no Israelite. They call him El Sol de Mexico, right? He's actually Espanol. But you got to watch him live in concert, and his whole damn band is Israelites. And then he give them their spot, Miss Mariachis, and they be like a Swiss clock playing 100 guitars, 100 trumpets. I'm like, these dudes is bad. You got to listen to them cats. Like, they be singing their asses off. The poor ass people in Brazil just walk around with them little ukuleles or congas. They do that from 3, 4 years old. These cats be selling out in big ass football stadiums, playing that samba. Playing all, bro, I listen to these cats that came from nothing. This one big ass dude called Pericles. Another cat named Chiago. They used to be in the group together. These dudes could sing their ass off. Another brother named Momozinho. But all these Brazilian brothers, they're bad. Cuba, shit. You ain't gonna find a better musician, bar none. because Cuba, they do everything from, it's a cold deal. Like if you wanted to go to Cuba right now, Black people, Hispanic people, you could go right now for free and get taught whatever you want to learn. You could become a doctor, you could become a musician. They're boxing. They are bad like at everything, but why are they? Because there's a spirit in them. And when we fell, all the nations, from that time up until now, have been chipping away. The first thing to go was the monetary wealth. That happened right on the spot. Over the years, guess what would get taken? The identity. That would happen over the millennia. The people who were recognized globally as the Israelites are no longer recognized as such. But there's another people who are recognized as those people, the descendants of those people, and have harbored the international sympathy for an 11-year period called the Holocaust. When the true Israelites have been suffering since the fall, since 700 years before the destruction of the entire civilization. And no one gives a damn about them. Why? Because no one even recognizes, no one knows who they are. So that's what we've been reading with respect to the riches, the riches of the wealth, the riches of the Israelites were transferred to the Gentiles, and it continues to this very day. So go ahead. We're going to go to 2 Chronicles. We're going to come back because I'm going to finish this trajectory. We got a few more to read. We're still going to read about the wealth. This is going to be in you guys' library of topics, and people will be able to follow the line and say, okay, man, he left off for 2 or 3 weeks, but okay, here it is. Romans chapter 11 continue, so that they can really know what this chapter is saying. So 2 Chronicles chapter 36, and start off at verse 1. Y'all can bounce back and forth if you want to do the reading. Verse 1.
2 Chronicles chapter 36 and verse 1. Then the people of the land took Jehoaz, the son of Josiah, and made him king in his father's stead in Jerusalem. Jehoaz was 23 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months in Jerusalem. And the king of Egypt put him down at Jerusalem, and condemned the land in 100 talents of silver and a talent of gold.
Now that means what? That means more wealth. We got put under the Egyptians, more wealth being siphoned out. That's like the first 4 verses. Then it switches and another king pops up. Go ahead.
And the king of Egypt made Eliakim, his brother, king over Judah and Jerusalem, and turned his name to Jehoiakim, and Necho took Jehoaz, his brother, and carried him to Egypt. And Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, his power.
Go ahead.
Against him came up Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, and bound him in fetters to carry him to Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar also carried the vessels of the house of the Lord to Babylon, and put them in his temple at Babylon. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoiakim and his abominations which he did, and that which was found in him, behold, they are written in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah. And Jehoiachin, his son, reigned in his stead. And Jehoiachin was 8 years old when he began to reign.
Damn, go ahead.
He reigned 3 months and 10 days in Jerusalem. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord.
This is a badass 8-year-old and shit, right?
It said 8 years old?
8 years old.
Yeah, brother. Little evil ass, little Dr. Evil, little 8-year-old home alone motherfucker, right? Shit. Anyway,
That's horrible.
but listen, it is, but guess what? But why? Because his father was evil. We just read his father did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. What was he going to do at 8? He hadn't even lived long enough to learn something different.
It's true.
Why was he put in a position to reign so young?
Hey, listen, brother, that's how it happened. And then they had, I'm trying to think of the term that they had for the person that was in charge. It wasn't viceroy. There's a term that was given to the person who was responsible for the king until the king came up into age. I forgot the name of that term, but these cats were supposed to like be counselors, but they still had to respect the fact that the one that spoke was the king. But they put him in that position because he was the successor. That's how it was in the ancient. Now, if he had some evil brother, you know what I mean, then that's where the fighting and all that type of stuff would take place. But yeah, man, little 8-year-old home alone motherfucker, man, did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. You thought, you know, just you, not that you would think an 8-year-old, not that a little ass whooping wouldn't set right. But guess what? That root of evil was in him because of his parents. It was the line of kings, like, and every now and then you would get one that did that which was pleasing to the Lord. But this is that descent. So we find more riches being taken. Read all the way down to verse 10 and then give me the next person can read.
Verse 10. And when the year was expired, King Nebuchadnezzar sent and brought him to Babylon with the goodly vessels of the house of the Lord, and made Zedekiah, his brother, king over Judah and Jerusalem.
Now, who remembers what we read last week? Or I say last week, the last time we were dealing with this topic. Why did Israel get taken to Babylon? The Most High had, we read the book of Baruch.
Because they wouldn't serve the king of Babylon.
Because we wouldn't obey. You read Baruch chapter 2, you guys on your own, and you'll see. The Most High gave us the option. Our punishment began as having to pay tribute and do whatever the king of Babylon told us to. And under them conditions, we could stay, but we wouldn't. So they started taking us exile. The Most High did everything he could in the world to keep us what? To keep us in our land. But we always rebelled. Go ahead.
John, verse 11. And Zedekiah was 21 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, his power.
Why did he do that?
That's what he was
Because
taught.
this was the previous person's brother, and they had the same father. They had the same father. They put an 8. It still befuddles me on why would they would have put the 8-year-old in charge first. But clearly it was the king of Babylon doing it. And so you were talking about issues of controllability. That's all. But he didn't know this 8-year-old little motherfucker was stubborn like the 28-year-old ones. That's Israelite. So now his brother is in charge, Zedekiah, and he's doing evil. Israel don't get it. Doing evil in the sight of the Lord. And the evil that's referring to you would have to go to Ezekiel chapter 16 and Ezekiel chapter 23, and you will find out that it was always idolatry. When the Most High gave us over to the Assyrians, it was because we was following the Assyrian culture. And the Lord said, okay, I'm gonna let your lovers come with whom you've committed this adultery and your whoredom, and they're going to punish you. And it was the same with here. The evil that these kings were doing of the king of Judah, it was of Babylon. And it tells you that in chapter 16 and chapter 23 of Ezekiel. And it included, when it says evil, you got to go there to get the details because it included child sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. The details of what we did here, Ezekiel chapter 16 and Ezekiel chapter 23. And it was horrible. We had all type of Babylonian statues, taking the Most High's garments, taking the Most High's flour, taking the Most High's oil, taking the Most High's gold and silver and jewels, decorating and offering, and all the way down to our children, to these images, Babylonian images. So because we love the Babylonians so much, the Most High used them as he had did with the kingdom of Israel. He used the Assyrians because that's who we went after. Go ahead.
And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, his power, and humbled not himself before Jeremiah, the prophet, speaking from the mouth of the Lord.
See that? Jeremiah couldn't move this dude. Go ahead.
And he also rebelled against King Nebuchadnezzar, who had made him swear by the Most High. But he stiffened his neck and hardened his heart from turning unto the Lord power of Israel. Moreover, all the chief of the priests and the people transgressed very much after all the abominations of the heathen, and polluted the house of the Lord, which he had hallowed in Jerusalem.
So this is what we started doing. We literally was going up in the temple. You read Ezekiel chapter 8 and Ezekiel chapter 9. Evil shit, the Most High said, come here, let me show you something. And took Ezekiel and showed him, like as if he was looking through a hole in the wall, all the evil that was being done in the temple. And it was all Babylonian. Go ahead.
Now, verse 15. And the Lord power of their fathers sent to them by messengers, rising up betimes and sending, because he had compassion on his people and on his dwelling place.
You know, imagine that. Imagine just this son just won't. He's intent on driving you to wrath. Go ahead.
But they mocked the messengers of the Most High and despised his words and misused his prophets until the wrath of the Lord arose against his people. So there was no more remedy.
That means there was only one thing left to do, and that was kill them all. Kill them all. Send them into exile. Have the nations be brutal over them. This is what they want. After all, they did this to my sons and daughters that I gave them. Let me give them a taste of their own medicine. And the Babylonians was burning us up. We got burnt down.
They mocked the angels.
Huh?
They mocked the angels.
They mock his messengers is talking about all of those different prophets. When it said messengers, he'll say messenger once, then he'll come back and say prophet, but it's talking about the men of the Lord that the Most High would send. And when you want to know what type of mockery it was, then you just read certain verses in Hebrew chapters 11, and it tells you what the prophets of the Most High, how they lived, Doc. How they were sawn asunder and torn in pieces and stoned and wandered in desert places with animal skins on them. And Christ came and said that himself. He looked over Jerusalem and said, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou which killest the prophets and all that are sent unto thee. We was a bloody ass people. That's why the Lord in Isaiah chapter 53, woe to the bloody city. There's none that calleth for righteousness, none speak up for justice. Brother, we was an evil nation. Niggas be over here in America playing the victim and shit because white man is telling, the white man who has a ulterior motive for using our people is telling us that we're the victims. We ain't the victims by the long stretch of a drug-induced hallucination. We no victims. We're the culprits over and over and over again. Just like we are today. Jake running around here, the women alone are fucking serial killers. Y'all know that. The women are serial killers. They call it abortion. They're serial killers. Life is as a glass of water to them. Because Esau taught them, my body, my choice. What kind of evil is that, nigga? There's another body inside there now, and it didn't come from you. A person put that seed in you. And Jake don't even care. If he was in his right mind, he'd be done butchered that bitch. He'd be done did to her what she did to the baby. Y'all ever seen aborted baby bits? Well, it's cruel, They pull babies out, babies are still screaming and writhing in pain. That's why I call them women serial killers. And listen, it's a multi-million-dollar industry. Then they turn around and put them baby parts in your damn food. Flavor your drinks with it. Fill up all of your vaccinations and shit with fetal parts. What do you think Most High gonna do now? Look at what he did to us before. That's why the Lord said, man, 2/3, this thing is gonna be horrible. You already got a bunch of people walking, dead fucking men walking that and took the vaccines. I'm gonna keep it low. Dead man walking, dead woman walking. I ain't lying. People out here doing, they're dropping on motorcycles. Just a couple of weeks ago, a lady walking down the street with a snow cone just collapsed. Because she got the I'm gonna start calling that shit Super Bowl ticket. Because she got a Super Bowl ticket. I say that because ain't nobody gonna, take our account because we talking shit about the Super Bowl. Right? Niggas done got the Super Bowl ticket out. And listen out, and all of that is planned by the Most High. The Super Bowl ticket, without a doubt, is the mark of the beast. Now I got to call the beast something else too, right? The Super Bowl ticket is the mark of Zorro. We're gonna call it that shit. Right? Just nigga got us. We're trying to keep our YouTube channel open. So from here on out, the sword of truth, I hereby declare that thing that you can't say is now what? The Super Bowl ticket. And that biblically it is the mark of Zorro. Ha! Y'all gonna say this nigga blasphemy. Hey, I'm just trying to keep our YouTube channel alive, brother. I'm like the Bee Gees right now. We just staying alive. Shit. Hold up. Super Bowl ticket. Don't you get it? You better let this season pass you by, brother. Right? Ain't no champions with this Super Bowl ticket, brother. Ain't no MVP. Right? You be the MFP, the most fucked up person that got it. That's the truth. All right. So continue to read, this is called verse 6. Read verse 16 one more time.
Chronicles to 36 and verse 16. But they mocked the messenger of the Most High, and despised his words, and misused his prophets, until the wrath of the Lord arose against his people, and there was no remedy.
Go ahead.
Therefore, he brought upon them the king of the Chaldees, who slew their young men with the sword in the house of their sanctuary, and had compassion upon young men or maid. Had no compassion upon young men or maiden, old man, or him that stooped for age. He gave them all into his hand.
Have y'all ever seen anybody, just people, multitudes of people getting hacked to death? That's a different thing to behold than a mass shooting. It's a more crueler thing. You come up a bunch of guns, pop, 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 people just start dropping, and that's a horrible and a cruel thing. But to come up and to have the force, to have the manpower to take hundreds of thousands of people and hack their ass to death out with swords, that's his wrath, That's his wrath. People don't understand what they be looking at. You see them mangled up bodies that Esau burnt. You see those lynched bodies. Esau, Shalom Mama, we in Second Chronicles, chapter 36. You see those lynched bodies, those mangled corpses, ashes, part of the arms and limbs all consumed away, but you still can see it was a human form. All of that was the Most High's wrath. They have nothing to do with racism. It has nothing to do with discrimination. It has nothing to do with inequality. It's all punishment. And it all started with Judah right here. The Most High got mad, pissed off. Imagine just people hacking babies up. And the part that the Edomites played, they was cruel as hell. That's why David said, don't forget them. Remember the children of Edom in the day that Judah had met his end. When they said, raise it, raise it. The Edomites were the ones that burnt the temple down. The whole world could not wait to see what was described by the Most High's own mouth as the perfection of beauty. They couldn't wait to see that defiled. Now our women are twerking in Walmart. And in between twerk sessions, they're being serial killers. Simple and plain. That's the truth about us. Like, we ain't shit now. I can see why the Most High gonna kill the majority of us. Then you got these other people out there talking about the black woman is God. Where have these niggas been? Literally, what black hole fucking time warp did they crawl from? Because they're speaking of somebody from another world, like another damn dimension in a galaxy far, far away and shit. Fucking Star Wars. It's the one motherfucker in the galaxy that Darth Vader is even afraid of. You're like, not her. Do not build that Death Star anywhere near Earth. We have heard of a species that they call the Black God. She's the one that gave his ass asthma. Just thinking about that nigga, he got asthma. When you got these people talking about the black woman is God, and that Israel, that black people are discriminated against. We're not discriminated against by a long shot. We don't recognize punishment. Okay, I'm we're in 2 Chronicles chapter 36, and I want you to pick up at verse 18, please. More wealth being taken. Read it from verse 17.
2 Chronicles chapter 36 and verse 17. Therefore he brought upon them the king of the Chaldees, who slew their young men with the sword in the house of their sanctuary, and had no compassion upon young man or maiden, old man, or him that stooped for age. He gave them all into his hand.
So imagine your grandfathers right now being somebody kicking in the door and hacking them down with machetes. Imagine your grandmother. Imagine your 3-year-old daughter, your toddler son. Imagine that, because that's what happened. The Most High had them roll. Like I said, he's telling us how our fathers misused the prophets, how we mocked his messengers. But that was the smaller thing. Remember, those were the ones that were coming to warn us about what we were doing was going to bring wrath. What was it that we were doing? All forms of idolatry. And I mean, like I said, and the height of it was burning our children alive. Y'all ever seen somebody burn up alive? I had a video I sent it to Award a while back. He was like, damn, that nigga wouldn't stop running. Shit, that nigga was trying to whip up a breeze to get that fire off of him. Fell down on me after I jumped back up and started running again till that fire finally got in his lungs. This would be the Most High working on us, so he had the king of Babylon come and that massive army, and they were merciless. It's not talking about Christ when you read Jeremiah and it says the lion has come up from his thicket. The destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way. That was the Most High's announcement of Babylon, of Nebuchadnezzar. That's why in Daniel chapter 7, he's a lion with eagle's wings. And that he was going to use him to punish Israel, to punish Egypt, and to punish Assyria. And all of Syria, all of the region that's called, Palestine and the land of Canaan, all the way down into Egypt, the Most High used him to punish them. Then he turned around and had the Medes come and punish him. Then he had the Greeks come and punish all of them. Then he had the Romans come. That's what the Most High did. Then he had the sons of the Romans come over to us and destroy us all in the Americas. And that was just as brutal. Hanging children and grown-ups and everybody, it didn't matter, on meat hooks and burning them slowly. That was the wrath of the Most High. Why? Because you watch movies like that movie Apocalypto, Mel Gibson movie, where they was cutting niggas' hearts out, but they was doing that. Yeah, people talking about, hey, they be all mad because they called the Indians cannibals, brother. We was that and worse. You got people still down here doing it today. Go ahead, Amiyatazar.
2 Chronicles chapter 36 and verse 18. And all the vessels of the house of the Most High, great and small, and the treasures of the house of the Lord, and the treasures of the king and of his princes, all these he brought to Babylon.
So what is that talking about? That's more of the monetary or physical riches. This is how we lost it. Go ahead.
Verse 19. And they burnt the house of the Most High, and brake down the wall of Jerusalem, and burnt all the palaces thereof with fire, and destroyed all the goodly vessels thereof.
Okay, go ahead.
And them that had escaped from the sword carried he away to Babylon, where they were servants to him and his sons unto the reign of the kingdom of Persia.
Okay.
To,
Yeah, read to verse 21.
to fulfill the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah, until the land had enjoyed her Sabbaths. For as long as she lay desolate, she kept Sabbath.
Yeah, that means while we weren't there, the land was able to honor the Most High's Sabbaths and all the holy days because we wouldn't. Go ahead.
Fulfilled 70 years.
Okay, now, yeah, matter of fact, just read these final two verses and I'm going to give you guys some reading that you can read on your own so we can make it through Romans chapter 11. But I want to give you some more reading so that first read verse 22 and 23. I'm going to
2 Chronicles chapter 36 and verse 22. Now in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord spoken by the mouth of Jeremiah might be accomplished, the Lord stirred up the spirit in Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and put it also in writing, saying, Thus saith Cyrus, king of Persia, all the kingdoms of the earth have the Lord power of heaven given me. And he hath charged me to build him an house in Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Who is there among you of all his people? The Lord his power be with him, and let him go up.
Right. So now what is this about? Now let me say this. I gave you guys some verses. I told you to go and read the book of Baruch to find out why, the Most High, what was the Most High's initial plan concerning Babylon? We weren't supposed to be exiled. That wasn't the Most High's intention. You don't have to go. I'm going to give you some reading. You guys can read this on your own. So you're going to read Baruch chapter 2, like verses 11 through 26. That's going to be those verses will help you to understand that we actually had the option of staying in the land and paying tribute only and keeping the dictates of the king of Babylon, but we wouldn't. So then the Most High had happened what we just got through reading. You couple that with Ezekiel chapter 16, all of it, and Ezekiel chapter 23, all of that, and you'll see why the Most High removed Israel first and then Judah. All right. It was straight up all forms of the Babylonian and the Assyrian idolatry, which included sacrificing our children. That's what that was. Now, I want to read a declaration in the book of Maccabees, and then I'll give you the reading that you can do on your own as well for Maccabees. I'm going to go to First Maccabees chapter 2, and you're going to read verses 1 through 10.
First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 1. In those days arose Mattathias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the sons of Jorib, from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin. And he had 5 sons, Johanan, called Cadiz, Simon, called Phaси, Judas, who was called Maccabeus, Eleazar, called Avaran, and Jonathan, whose surname was Aphas.
Go ahead.
And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, Woe is me! Wherefore was I born to see this misery of my people and of the holy city, and to dwell there when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of strangers? Her temple is become as a man without glory. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity.
Now, what are we reading here? We're reading so that you guys can read all the rest on your own. This is a summary of what took place in chapter 1, where Antiochus came on 2 occasions, Antiochus Epiphanes the 4th, and sacked the temple and did a whole lot of killing. So it was those acts that led to that Maccabean revolt. But what we're reading about is what happened after, because the last that we read, let's do it like this. The last that we read in Second Chronicles, the last two verses. Can y'all hear that?
So
Okay. The last two verses, verses 22 and 23, spoke about how the Most High allowed Israel to return by the decree of Cyrus, the Persian king. Well, you got to go to chapter 1 of Ezra, and then you'll find out that all of the wealth that was taken by the Babylonians, Cyrus restored it. And what we're reading here now is that the Greeks would come and take it. All right. So Ezra chapter 1 lets you know how much was allowed to go back. And then you read chapter 2 and it'll give you an account of all the people of Israel and all of our servants that we had that were in captivity with us in Babylon, how they went back to Jerusalem with the wealth. What this is in First Maccabees is now that very same wealth is being siphoned out by the Greeks. Go ahead, Amiyatazar. What, call your verse out? You're on mute.
First Maccabees.
Oh, no, you're not. Go ahead.
First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 9. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. Her young men with the sword of the enemy. What nation have not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils?
In other words, listen to that. What nation? Because he's telling you, there haven't been no nation that didn't partake in that. What nation had not, that's called, had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? Read on down on just verse 11.
Verse 11. All her ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman, she's become a bond slave.
And that's what happened, Doc. Now, you would read what? You would read on your own all of that up until the what? Up until the end of chapter 4. Meaning First Maccabees chapter 1, chapter 2, 3, and 4. And then you'll find out what? That the temple is restored, but not the wealth that was taken. That wouldn't happen until I won't say it happened, but let me put it like this. Read these. Read Second Maccabees, chapter Second Maccabees. Let me see. This is Second Maccabees. No, yeah, that's it. It's First Maccabees. I'm trying to think of the place where Antiochus, it's in chapter 9. And you read all of chapter 9 of Antiochus of Second Maccabees. This is when the Most High finally moves on Antiochus and to afflict him before he kills him. And he makes a vow to restore all the wealth that he took. But it doesn't say whether or not that Antiochus fulfilled that. He wrote a letter in a foreign land, hoping that that would appease the Most High and put an end to his suffering. Remember what happened to him? He got thrown off of his horse, out of his chariot, and then on an instant, the worms rose up on his skin and began to just eat him alive. And so in that anguish and in that agony, he made all of these promises that you can actually read in Second Maccabees chapter 9. The verses is the whole chapter, but the verses that talk about his letter and the vow that he made to restore the wealth that he took was verses 13 through 17. You guys could read all of that on your own. Then, of course, what would you do? You understand that the Romans destroyed Jerusalem and took it all. That's that succession that began with Second Kings chapter 15 with the Assyrians, all the way into chapter 16, chapter 17 of Second Kings, chapter 18. That's chapter 17. The northern kingdom was done away with. Chapter 18, Sennacherib moves in on Jerusalem also. The Most High eventually killed his armies. The point is, Then Babylon, second Chronicles chapter 36 is where all of that wealth was taken, replaced by the king of Persia, taken by the Greeks again, and then whatever else was left was completely taken by the Romans. So Amayetazar, we're in Romans chapter 11, and I want you to read verse 12 once more and then move on down to 13.
Romans chapter 11, verse 12. Now, if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness?
Go ahead.
I speak to you, Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles. I magnify mine office.
Now, people read that verse and they don't know what's being said. When he says, I speak to you, Gentiles, inasmuch as I am an apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify my office. Paul, of course, we know the Christian church thinks that this is talking about that the Gentiles here refer to the other nations. But he's not talking about the other nations, and you guys already know that. We don't have to go through those verses, but I want to go through what he is saying. He's saying when he says, I am the apostle of the Gentiles, he's saying that I am an apostle that's from among the Gentiles. And I'm going to show you that. Because remember, Paul was not a native of Jerusalem. And it's because he was not a native of Jerusalem. Where he was a native of was Tarsus of Cilicia, right, southeastern Turkey. And so Paul spoke Greek, and he was the one to send there, but he didn't come up like a heathen. Now, we want to read it first. So let's go to the book of Acts chapter 9. Let's find out why Paul says, I am an apostle of the Gentiles. Yes, he was the apostle that the Most High sent to the scattered Israelites, but that's not what he's saying. That's not what he's saying only, I put it like that. He's saying that I am the apostle that is from among you, and I'm a proof. So Amayetazar, you're in Acts chapter 9, and you're going to read, that's the conversion of Paul, Saul. Let's do this. Let's read verses 1 through 17. Acts chapter 9, verses 1 through 17. This is just a brief history, right, of Paul. Now, what are we getting ready to read? He's on his way to Damascus. He's received an authorization from the chief priest of Jerusalem to go to as far as to Damascus and bring back to trial all of those people that called upon the name of Yahushua. So in his mind, he's been authorized to hunt down and apprehend heretics against the temple, against the Most High. Go ahead, Amayetazar, chapter 9, verses 1 through 17.
Acts chapter 9 and verse 1. And Saul, yet breathing out threatenings and slaughter against the disciples of the Lord, went unto the high priest and desired of him letters to Damascus, to the synagogues, that if he found any of this way, whether they were men or women, he might bring them bound unto Jerusalem. And as he journeyed, he came near Damascus, and suddenly there shined round about him a light from heaven. And he fell to the earth, and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And he said, Who art thou, Lord? And the Lord said, I am Yahushua, whom thou persecutest. It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks.
Yeah, you can't fight against this movement, brother. I'm waking my people up. I'm getting my word out. This is something that you can't fight against. Just letting them know. Go ahead.
Verse 6. And he, trembling and astonished, said, Lord, what wilt thou have me to do? And the Lord said unto him, Arise and go into the city, and it shall be told thee what thou must do.
So he's just on the outskirts of Damascus, And before he enters in to be able to carry out his details given by the chief priest, the Most High the Most High commandeers him and changes his orders. He's under new command now. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And the men which journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a voice, but seeing no man. And
That means
Saul
they
arose.
heard a voice who Saul was talking to, but they couldn't see nobody. So the Saul wasn't crazy, but the Most High had only opened up his eyes to see Yahushua, and he couldn't see him because he came in the form of a bright light. The other men heard the voice, but didn't see that. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And the men which journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a voice, but seeing no man. And Saul arose from the earth, and when his eyes were opened, he saw no man. But they led him by the hand and brought him into Damascus.
He was blinded by the light, brother. Go ahead.
Verse 9. And he was 3 days without sight, and neither did eat nor drink. And there was a certain disciple at Damascus named Ananias. And to him said the Lord in a vision, Ananias. And he said, Behold, I am here, Lord. And the Lord said unto him, Arise and go into the street which is called Straight, and inquire in the house of Judas for one called Saul of Tarsus. For behold, he prayeth.
So in other
And have
words,
seen a vision.
the Most High was sending Ananias, right? Sending him and preparing Ananias for Paul's, let's say, coming. Go ahead.
Verse 12. And have seen in a vision a man named Ananias coming in and putting his hand on him that he might receive his sight. Then Ananias answered, Lord, I have heard by many of this man, how much evil he have done to thy saints at Jerusalem. And here he have authority from the chief priests to bind all that call on thy name.
Yeah, Ananias was afraid. This dude he has a horrible reputation for oppressing us, and now he has authority by the chief priest to do so. You sure you want me to go to this one? Go ahead.
But the Lord said unto him, Go thy way, for he is a chosen vessel unto me, to bear my name before the Gentiles and kings and the children of Israel.
Right. So when he said my name before the Gentiles, Paul would be sent to all of these foreign countries, and his message would reach the ears of the authorities. But the people, the foreigners, he wasn't sent to them. Continue on.
Verse 16. For I will show him how great things he must suffer for my name's sake.
Go ahead.
And Ananias went his way and entered into the house, and putting his hands on him said, Brother Saul, the Lord, even Yahushua, that appeared unto thee in the way as thou camest, have sent me, that thou mightest receive thy sight, and be filled with the Holy Spirit.
Okay, so the reason we read that is because that was where it was first announced to Ananias what Paul's mission was, appointed by the Most High. Now, when Paul says, I am an apostle of the Gentiles, we're going to go to chapter 21. We're going to see what he's saying. So he was designated to be the one to take this message. His responsibility would be, for the most part, to take this message to the Israelites scattered throughout the Roman Empire, the Greek-speaking world, because that was Paul's language. Go ahead, you're at chapter 21, and you're going to read verses 37 through 40. Now, this is Paul, by having been captured. Paul has a message, he's teaching, and he's causing riots. And so in order to quell the riot of the masses, there's a captain, a Greek captain, that takes Paul, arrests him, and is taking him into a castle. Go ahead, verse 37.
Acts chapter 21, verse 37. And as Paul was to be led into the castle, he said unto the chief captain, May I speak unto thee? Who said, Canst thou speak Greek?
So Paul asked the captain, the person that was in charge, may I have a word with you? Can I speak to you? And he goes, who said that? Can you speak Greek? The captain was shocked that Paul spoke his language. You guys will see that, there'll be people sitting around, black people sitting around, sometimes Spanish people. I'll never forget, you never met the sister. There was a sister that came by the store, man. We got to know her very well. And she was born in Germany, but she spoke German, Dutch, spoke a whole bunch of different languages. We're having a meal. This is back when Fabio was there. We all in good standing. And there was a sister that worked for Continental Airlines. She was there with us. And this sister, we're sitting at a table, and there's a German group sitting next to us talking all kind of evil out. And she just says, excuse me, y'all. She starts screaming at them, brother, in German.
Wow.
She checked their ass, and then she started telling us in a lot. They were saying this and they were saying that. She'd go back to them. She was from America. She lived in America, but she was from Germany. And they didn't know. And all they saw was a bunch of niggas sitting at the table in the patio. So they was talking all this stuff, and she just, she politely goes, y'all, hold on. And she just, you know how black women, when they go off on your ass, she went off on them in German, all we heard was, and turned back around and was telling us, and as she was telling us what they were saying, she kept on turning back to them and chastising them out. They got their asses up, paid and left. And that's how shocking it was to see somebody with that face speaking Greek. What? You speak my language? Now listen to what he tells Paul. Go ahead.
Verse 38. Art not thou that Egyptian, which before these days madest an uproar and leddest out into the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers?
So this person, he thought Paul was someone else. And this was why it was so easy also to arrest Paul. He's causing this uproar. He looked like this Egyptian that was known to roll with 400 murderers. He said, I thought that's who you were. But watch what Paul says. Go ahead.
Verse 39. But Paul said, I'm a man which am a Jew of Tarsus, a city in Cilicia.
Now do me a favor, Rob. Look up Bible map and bring up Tarsus of Cilicia. Right? And you'll see it's for the most part southeast Turkey. Okay. And so Paul in Romans chapter 11, referring to himself as an apostle of the Gentiles, we're going to read some more after he gets this map and show you that this, in other words, this was Paul identifying with the people that shared his, quote, how can I put it, that shared this aspect of his pedigree. He was not born in Jerusalem. Now, don't get me wrong. You read the book of Philippians, he was raised all Israelite. He wasn't raised in the form of a Greek. He wasn't like Timothy, who he met in chapter 16, whose mother was a Jew, but father was a Greek Israelite. He was raised and brought up under the top-notch priest, but he still wasn't, there you go, make it bigger, please. You see Cilicia? That's southeast Turkey today. That's where Paul is from. All right? Okay, now, and that's why the Most High sent him to all of them places. Paul went to Pontus, he went to Cappadocia, he went to Galatia, he went to Pisidia, Pamphylia, all of those places Paul went, Bithynia, Asia over there to what? Smyrna, to the east, to the west. Okay, thank you. Now, read that verse once more. Verse 38. I'm sorry, verse 39 and verse 40, the final verse.
Verse 39. But Paul said, I'm a man which am a Jew of Tarsus, a city in Cilicia, a citizen of no mean city.
Meaning I'm a citizen of no average city. Cilicia was like an important place. Mean means average. Go ahead.
And I beseech thee, suffer me to speak unto the people.
Go ahead.
Verse 40. And when he had given him license, Paul stood on the stairs and beckoned with the hand unto the people. And when there was made a great silence, he spoke unto them in the Hebrew tongue, saying.
So that means what? That means we know that Paul was at least bilingual. He spoke Greek. When he was given the permission to address the masses, he went and spoke to them in Hebrew. Now, I'm going to go get you something. So Paul is not from Jerusalem. Paul is from Gentile lands. Now go to chapter 9, Amiyatazah. Romans chapter 9. And we're going to read verses 21 through 24.
Romans chapter 9, verse 21. Have not the potter power over the clay, of the same lump, to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor?
Now, don't get me wrong. He's talking about the Most High having taken Esau and Jacob, the same lump of clay, both having come from the same father and the same mother. Go ahead.
Verse 22. What if the Most High, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction?
Now, how do you know that's not the Most High's plan? What if the Most High, just so that he could show how powerful he is, right? That's what it means when it says to show his wrath and to make his power known, that he tolerated these people whose purpose was to be destroyed anyway. That's what that verse means. The Most High have been suffering, or he's been enduring with much long suffering the vessels of wrath, meaning the Edomites, fitted to destruction. That means created for destruction. He has a purpose, Paul is saying. The Most High is tolerating this because he wants what? He wants the people to see his wrath. Go ahead.
Verse 23. And that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy.
So that the vessels of mercy is Israel. So that in that same what? Wrath that he shows and he pours out over these people, these vessels who were created, who were fitted to destruction, in that same act, he's going to show mercy to the what? To the vessels. This is what he's saying, right? And that he may make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy. These are the ones. Now, how do we know that? That's Isaiah chapter 14 and 1. For the Lord will have mercy and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. They're the vessels that the Most High have preordained to what? To extend his mercy to in the face of the wrath that's coming on Esau and the rest of the world. Go ahead, I read verse 23 again and on down.
Verse 23. And that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy, which he had afore prepared unto glory.
Go ahead.
Even us, whom he have called.
Now listen to this, because now he's including himself. Us means you guys plus me. If I say you all, then I'm referring to you all exclusively. But if I say us, I am including me in the you all, am I not? So Paul says, even us, including himself, go ahead.
Even us, whom he have called, not of the Jews only.
Not of the Jews only, not of the people in Jerusalem only, go ahead.
But also of the Gentiles.
So Paul is including himself to be a member of those who are classified as Gentiles. And this is what he means in Romans 11 when he says, I am an apostle of the Gentiles. Yes, he was an apostle designated to be sent to them. but more so because he come from among them and spoke their language and understood the culture that they were immersed into, even though he didn't follow after that culture, even though he wasn't brought up following after the culture. He was more cultured in that culture than they were. He just wasn't idolatrous. He spoke the language to a T. He went before magistrates, found innocent. This is him. So this is what Paul is saying in verse 13 when he says, I'm an apostle of the Gentiles. Yes, he was the one sent to foreign Israelites, but he was a foreigner himself. Now, you go to the book of Philippians and he'll give you his Hebrew pedigree. All of that he got while he was in Cilicia of Tarsus, or Tarsus of Cilicia. Simple and plain. They got people do that to this very day. I got children born down here in Guatemala. They got, double citizenship, and they have a document from the American embassy, American citizen born abroad. Still speak to English. You understand? That happens all the time. Okay, Amiyatazar. Matter of fact, I got 4 of them born here. Right? All the citizenship. One of them is up in Sacramento, born here, but up in Sacramento. She could come right down here and the first day go to the RENAP office and get her national ID because she's born here and she got her paperwork. That's how Paul was. But he wasn't one of those that were born in the foreign land and given to idolatry. Okay. So we see what that means. Read it one more time, Amayatazar.
Romans chapter 9.
Matter of fact, you're going to read it all the way down. Just keep on reading. I want you to read at least to verse 26.
Romans chapter 9 and verse 24. Even us, of whom he hath called, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles.
So before we move forward, I want you guys to know or confirm that you see that Paul is referring to himself as a Gentile as opposed to a Jew. But when it was time, wisdom required what? That he recognized himself as a Jew. We just read that in the book of Acts. Right? Paul said, no, I'm not no Egyptian, I'm a Jew. But I'm a Jew of Tarsus, not an average city of Cilicia. But here he's telling the scattered Israelites in Rome, I'm one of y'all. And he wasn't lying. But then when it came time, if you continue to read in that chapter 21 on, shit, they were like, okay, we got to beat this person. We got to scourge him and find out why is the crowd so wanting to kill him. Paul wasn't trying to get no ass whooping. Paul says, so what, it's legal now to be a Roman citizen? Paul was wearing all these hats, huh? Oh, you're a Roman? He said, yeah, I'm a Roman. This guy said, it cost me, getting that citizenship cost me a great price. Paul said, I was born one. I'm born free. So this very day, we would say I'm an Israelite, but at the right time, we'd be standing in front of the judge telling me, well, Your Honor, as an American citizen, I do have certain rights. Oh, you're American now, huh? But shit, yeah, I am when it matters. I am when I have to be. Me going and put my turban over here and put on my Uncle Sam hat. Big ass tall Uncle Sam, red, white, and blue, Apollo Creed hat. Nigga came out living in America, got killed by a Russian, right? And that funny point is, that's what Paul was doing. And people be reading and they're saying, oh, Paul was a liar. This is what the Muslims be saying from the East Coast, right? They go through this. Oh, Paul was a liar. Brother Paul was doing just what you're doing, surviving. That's the reality of it. So he says, because there wasn't anything that he told a lie. He was a Hebrew of the Hebrews. You read Philippians, he actually went through all that in chapter 2. 8th day circumcised, raised under the feet of a chief priest, Gamaliel, concerning the law, blameless, concerning the righteousness which is found in the law, blameless. But he wasn't born in Jerusalem, so he was a Gentile. That's the reality of it. So he's saying not to the Jews, only to us, because he's identifying with them. Now, what did he already tell us in chapter 11? He said, man, I'm doing this so that by any means I might provoke to emulation them that which are my flesh. He's trying to do anything to motivate somebody to come to Christ without lying. Okay, go ahead. Now, to prove to you that he's referring to foreign Israelites, listen to the next verses that he reads. He's citing once again. He's going to cite Hosea now. Earlier, he cited Moses. Before that, he cited 1st and 2nd Kings. You know, earlier in the chapter when he spoke of Elijah, you'll find that in 1st Kings, where Elijah was being pursued by Jezebel and all the prophets of Baal. So all he's doing is going through spots of our history and prophecy and helping us to understand what Christ showed him the message really was. And it was about gathering what? Scattered Israelites. Go ahead, Amayetazah, verse 25.
Romans chapter 9 and verse 25. As he saith also in Ossi, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not beloved.
Now, what is he referring to? He's referring to the book of Hosea, where the Most High had Hosea go and marry a prostitute, a harlot, and have 2 children. He said, this one's going to be La'amai, meaning not my people, and this one's going to be something else, not my people. But then the third one you're going to have is going to be my people again. He's reciting that. He's reciting the process that the Most High was what? Prophesied to cut us off for a moment, but then call us back. And he's including himself along with the rest of the scattered Israelites among that number to be a fulfillment of that very prophecy. That's why he's citing it. Right after he says, not the Jews only, but us too, the Gentiles. Then he says, like it says in the book of Hosea. Go ahead, I'm going to get this up, verse 26.
Verse 26. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there shall they be called the children of the living power.
So this is proof. Listen, so that we can really understand that, let's go there. Let's go to the book of Hosea.
Hosea.
Huh? Yeah, but I want to read the whole account. So we're going to go to chapter 1. Thank you, so that you can see the dynamic. The precept of that specific quote is chapter 1 and verse 10. But the reasoning behind it, listen to this. I want you to start off at Hosea chapter 1 and verse 1.
Hosea chapter 1 and verse 1.
Huh.
The word of the Lord that came unto Hosea, the son of Beeri, in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah, and in the days of Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel.
Right. These were the kings during whose reign Hosea prophesied. So when it says you're talking about in the last days of the kings of Israel, and in the final days also of the kings of Judah, because Hezekiah, we read in chapter 36, was the last. No, that was Zedekiah. Zedekiah was the last king of Judah. Okay, go ahead, Amiyatazah. So these are the days, these are the kings during whose reign Hosea prophesied. Verse 2.
Verse 2. The beginning of the word of the Lord by Hosea. And the Lord said to Hosea, go, take unto thee a wife of whoredoms and children of whoredoms. For the land have committed great whoredom, departing from the Lord.
So he's been después. Okay. He's being told to go get a wife according to the standing of Israel. In other words, his life now, being a prophet, had to become the living message of what the Most High wanted to give Israel. So, okay, you got to go get a wife of whoredoms. She got to be a hoe. And why? Because the whole nation then departed from it. Continue, Amiyatazah. People thought it was like this glorious thing, Amiyatazah, to be a prophet back then. Brother, you got put through hell. just so that the Most High could make a point. Right? Ezekiel had to eat bread with cow shit in it. They got some stuff in these markets called Ezekiel bread, and it has all of the ingredients except one, and that's the cow dung. And the first Lord said, you got to take some human dung. And he said, oh Lord, nothing foul, no unclean thing have ever passed through these lips. The Lord said, okay, then you could use cow dung. But you're gonna eat some shit. And listen, and live. Guess what? And then after all that, what did he say? He said, you go tell the children of Israel, thus shall they eat their bread defiled in all the lands where I would drive them and scatter. And that's why we're eating all of these things with these unknown damn ingredients, including aborted baby fetuses. And turn niggas into cannibals and people don't even know it. Drinks that have bull semen. They tried to pull that line. They say Red Bull. Red Bull initially had bull semen in it. Niggas running around here driving trucks feeling energized. Yeah, I can do my stretch now. Nigga, you better get you some coffee and some Tang, nigga. that 70s drink Tang that was from Mars and shit. Niggas running around here doing a long haul, sucking some bull balls. Please, if it ain't water, if you know what I mean, and then that's got poison in it. That's got the standard chlorine and fluoride that the Most High have helped us to become impervious to. That's right, brother. Red Bull got Red Bull balls in it. Bull ball juice. Niggas been running around here giving bulls total blowjob. It's a horrible thing, but this is real. Then all of the little ingredients that you look on the package that you can't pronounce, that's not food, y'all. That shit ain't natural. They don't come from the ground. Monosodium glutamate and this and that, and zixtaphenylbinol and dixtabutambindol, all them, those are chemicals, huh? Hey, those ain't rice. Nigga go and pull a Uncle Ben's mashed potatoes off of the thing and it have everything but a potato in it. Then you go get the potatoes and boil them and mash them. So everything, and then know that when you get to potatoes, it's going to have some what? Glyphosate. It's going to have some pesticides and insecticides and herbicides. You can't get away from judgment. But that don't mean you go looking for the worst and crudest form of it. Drinking Red Bull and them other ones, man. Monster. Who knows what the hell Monster got in it? Monster is nothing. It's all it is 666. Y'all know that, right? Those are the Hebrew letters for 666. Did y'all know that? Yes, do me a favor real quick. We're going to leave the bulls alone. We don't need no pictures of no bull balls on the screen. But I want you to get the logo type for Monster. Monster, and then this, look for this. Look for Monster drink 666. You found it already, Mawar?
Nah, you should cow dung.
Huh?
Show me some cow dung.
That's it. Okay, as if he never in his whole life in Texas saw some cow dung, right? Here or there.
I had to look it up.
Hey, listen, now imagine putting that on some nice bread instead of some peanut butter.
That's the worst, huh? It's gotta be the worst. I had hella season.
Hey, listen, that's what Ezekiel had to eat. No, nigga, you can leave the Jiffy. What is it called? Jiffy? No Jiffy for you. You just sit there behind that cow, and when it drops, look at this, y'all. Make that bigger, Amayetazar. Just the top. There you go. You see that, y'all? So you can only imagine what's in it. And that's the true letters, huh? The Vav. Right, that's our Wa. If it was the ancient Hebrew, Abagadachawa. That's 666. Now you can imagine what's in it. You can imagine what them ingredients and what those chemicals that you can't pronounce really are. So these prophets are the Most High. Thank you, Amiyatazar. We done. Their job was not easy. So when the Most High tell this person to go and get a wife of whoredoms, that ain't something he wanted to do.
That's not nowadays,
Yeah,
brother.
man. Now, unlike today, nigga be cool shit. Right? The word of the Lord came under Prophet Kawakab is go get you a hoe. Cool, nigga. Yeah. Y'all knew right where to go. Right? No, brother, that wasn't like that. They were like, yes, Lord. Whew. You know what I mean? Go ahead, brother. Listen, Isaiah had to go, what was it, 3 months? He had to go to the land of Moab and prophesy with his butt hanging out.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, man. And just so that the Lord could say, thus shall you go naked with your buttocks out into captivity to the Moabites.
Wow.
So this wasn't, the people be thinking, yeah, and these brothers be out there talking about, I'm a prophet, we're the prophets. No, nigga, we're the students.
Huh.
That's a lot of humility and a lot of a lack of self. Nothing about you, man.
Yeah, man. Nothing, we're not important at all. But the least thing we could call ourselves is the prophets, because we ain't been put to the test in any way like these cats. Now that's what they had to do and still get to live. What about when you got sent to Israel, who was going to stone you? What about when you got sent to places where you were going to be ripped in pieces and sawn asunder? The Most High was sending you to a sure death. Many times it turns out that prophesying to Israel and other places ended up being suicide missions. Who's going to go? And they knew it. No, we're the students, that's what we are. And poor students at that. Students trying to claim proprietorship over the word of the Most High with these titles, with these vain titles that you won't go and read in the New Testament. You don't even read them in the Old Testament. Moses was the top of us all, yet he was not the commanding general Moses, was he? And the Most High came back and said he was as a king over Israel, but Moses never felt that, never conducted himself like that. So this person got told to go and get you a wife of whoredoms. Continue on the Yatazah. Verse 3.
Verse 3, Hosea chapter 1 and verse 3. So he went and took Gomer, the daughter of Diblaim, which conceived and bare him a son.
That's right. I know right who to go to. Go ahead.
Verse 4. And the Lord said unto him, call his name Jezreel, for yet a little while, and I will avenge the blood of Jezreel upon the house of Jehu, and will cause to seize the kingdom of the house of Israel.
So you have to go back into reading about the first and second kings for all of that. Jehu was one of those that lived during the time of Jezebel. But then eventually he did evil, and the Most High said, I'm going to avenge what happened with Jezreel upon Jehu's house. This is all the evil that we was doing. That's what that kid represent, right? The vengeance of that person. Go ahead.
Verse 5. And it shall come to pass at that day that I will break the bow of Israel in the valley of Jezreel.
Go ahead.
And verse 6, she conceived again and bare a daughter. And the Most High said unto him, call her name Lo Ruhamah, for I will
Listen to this.
more.
Lo Ruhamah. Go ahead.
For I will no more have mercy upon the house of Israel, but I will utterly take them away.
So that name, La'ah, however you say mercy, in Hebrew, means not having mercy. This is the Most High making a declaration against the kingdom of Israel. Go ahead. This was before this. He was one of the prophets to the kingdom of Israel, what Jeremiah was to the kingdom of Judah. That prophet that kept coming and prophesying, if you don't turn. Now at this point, the Most High said, now the option for mercy is gone. I'm not going to have mercy. Now and little by little, started off with Tiglath-Pileser, went on from Tiglath-Pileser to Shalmaneser, from Shalmaneser to Sennacherib, from Sennacherib to Sargon.
Rakam.
Huh?
Rakam. That's
Say that again.
Rakam, mercy.
Yeah. Well, he said he wasn't having it. This kingdom wasn't getting it. And people think that was just ended. I'm talking about Israelites. They think that was just talking about the northern kingdom being taken away. But the Most High wasn't done with us. And so it is extended all the way up to what happened with the conquest of the Americas, y'all. That's why it was so cruel. And the shit that the kingdom of Israel did, y'all gotta look at it like this. So here we are, 700 years gone by the time Christ comes on the scene in Jerusalem. The kingdom of Israel had been gone at least 700 years, close to it. Huh? Then you got that 700 years, plus another 1,400 years before the Most High would visit the sins upon us in the Americas. Do you know what the nation, what these tribes, what our people did in that space of 2,100 years? And then when they make movies about it, or they tell the history, then our people want to go and boycott movies and shit. They show us cutting people's hearts out and legs and body parts hanging at the meat market. That's what the people did.
Ah, it's historically accurate.
Yeah, man. The Most High had the Spaniards and the Portuguese and the British and the French and the Dutch come down here with no mercy. Not for infants, not for nobody. Go ahead, Amayetazar. Call your verse up.
Hosea chapter 1, in verse 6. And she conceived again and bare a daughter, and the Most High said unto him, call her name Lo-Ruhamah, for I will no more have mercy upon the house of Israel, but I will utterly take them away.
Go ahead.
But I will have mercy upon the house of Judah, and will save them by the Lord their power, and will not save them by bow, nor by sword, nor by battle, by horses, nor by horsemen.
That means you have to go and read in 2 Kings, what chapter? Would it be 18? It's going to be after 18, where the Most High destroyed the Assyrian armies under Sennacherib, because they had taken down all the tribes of Israel, and now they came down, and the Sennacherib was boasting, where is your God? I done took down this kingdom. I took down this one. I took the Syrians down. I took down your people from Israel. And they woke up the next morning and their whole army was dead. The Most High didn't even do it in the battle. He just killed them all in their tents. That's what that's talking about. Go ahead, Amayetazar.
Verse 8. Now when she had weaned Lo-Ruhamah, she conceived and bare a son. Then said the Most High, call his name Lo-Ammi, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your power.
So he's talking to who? Talking to those foreigners from the kingdom of Israel. He's still having mercy on Judah. He had already told you in verse 7. But I will have mercy upon the house of Judah. So this is what Paul cited, y'all. That message was specified to the kingdom of Israel. Those foreigners, those scattered foreigners. Judah was there as well, but he cited which one? He cited this one, Hosea. Go ahead. So here they're being declared by the Most High, you're not my people. And that's why we got scattered all over the world and given all these different names. This was the Most High what? Ceasing, like he said in Deuteronomy chapter 32, causing the name, the memorial of Israel to cease from among men. Go ahead, Amayetazar. Verse 9 again and on down.
Verse 9. Then said the Most High, call his name Lo-Ammi, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your power. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, There it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living power.
So that's the Most High prophesying about what? After having rejected them, opening the door to receive them again. And this is who Paul is saying he was numbered among them, not having been born in Jerusalem. That's what it means in chapter 11 and verse 13 when he says, I am an apostle of the Gentiles. He's saying I'm an apostle, of course, delegated to them, dispatched to you, but I am from among you. I am of you. Go ahead.
Verse 11. Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together.
Now hold on, that's happening now.
Yeah.
That's talking about now, because why? Because the kingdom of Judah wasn't united with the kingdom of Israel until 1619. Go ahead.
Verse 11. Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together, and appoint themselves one head, and they shall come up out of the land. For great shall be the day of Jezreel.
So brothers be misunderstanding this verse, and they take it upon themselves to go out and create and call themselves the government. Fucking idiot. Now, I shouldn't say that. I guess they mean well. But this is not saying, first of all, let's play that. Let's say it is saying that we're going to appoint someone over us ahead. Who's so proud as to think you're the one? You see what I'm saying? Who's so proud to think that you're even among the group that get to choose who it is? That's the problem that Israel has. We're too damn arrogant, huh?
Yeah.
We have this high estimation of ourselves. But this goes with Ezekiel chapter 34. It goes with Ezekiel chapter 37. It's talking about the Most High already have a head appointed over us, and his name is David, and he's going to be under Yahweh. Go to chapter 34 of Ezekiel, Amayetazah. It's going to be 34 or 37 even. Let's check out 34 first. I'm getting there. Five. Hold on. Let's see something. Yeah, this is talking about how the Most High is going to raise up. Go to verse 23. Read chapter 34 and verse 22 and 23. You're going to read verses 22 through 24, all right?
Yeah. Ezekiel chapter 34 verse 22. Therefore will I save my flock, and they shall no more be a prey. And I will judge between cattle and cattle. And I will set up one shepherd over them, and he shall feed them, even my servant David. He shall feed them, and he shall be their shepherd.
And he's going to be in the kingdom, and he's going to be over us right under Yahweh Shah. He's going to be over the apostles. People don't know that. That's Luke chapter. Whose kingdom is it? Whose throne is it? Let me ask you that. Who knows whose throne this coming kingdom is? It is David's throne. The Most High said that. But then he went and told Mary that what? That you're going to bear a son. You're going to call his name Yahweh Shai, and he shall receive the throne of his father David. Christ is going to be over David, and David is going to be over the apostles. It's David's kingdom. It's Christ's kingdom. They don't understand the importance of David. You read Amos, everything that's being constructed, the Most High referred to it as what? As the tabernacle of David being constructed as it was in the days of old. The one that's over David is Yahweh Shai, because he was before David. That's what that's about. So these brothers thinking that we're supposed to go out, create a government, and appoint people, they're not being complete with the scriptures. This ain't the only place. This is in chapter 37 as well. Finish reading it on the all the way down to verse 24. Then we'll go to chapter 37.
Verse 23. And I will set up one shepherd over them, and he shall feed them, even my servant David. He shall feed them, and he shall be their shepherd. And I, the Lord, will be their power, and my servant David a prince among them. I, the Lord, have spoken it.
So you see how he's called a prince. Why? Because the king is going to be Yahweh Shah.
God.
Now go to chapter 37.
Oh,
And you're going to read verses 24. Let me see. Yeah, verse 24. Start off at verse 23, Amayetazar, and you're going to read all the way down just to verse 25. Verses 23 to 25 in chapter 37.
Ezekiel chapter 37, in verse 23. Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. But I will save them out of all their dwelling places.
Now stop right there, because in Hosea it said, and then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together and appoint themselves one head, and they shall come up out of the land. That's like that. Now it sounds like then that means we're going to vote for somebody, choose them, and then we're going to just leave the place of our captivity. But that's a summary of all the other detailed prophecies that are made on the very same issue. How are we going to get up out of the land? Christ already told us he's going to send his angels, and they're going to gather the elect from the four winds of heaven. Anybody got to leave no place? So they read that verse and they'll tell you why, but they're ignoring. I don't know if it's intentional or not. I don't believe it. But Israel, in our quest for recognition, in our quest to be something and to be somebody, we conveniently leave out and omit very important prophecies, man. Go ahead, continue reading where you were at. Read verse 23 again. You're going to read verses 23 to 25, Ezekiel 37.
23 of Ezekiel 37. Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. But I will save them out of all their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their power.
Go ahead.
And David, my servant, shall be king over them.
Now listen to this, because people get confused. It's going to clear it up in the next verse. Go ahead.
And David, my servant, shall be king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments, and observe my statutes, and do them.
Go ahead.
And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob, my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt. And they shall dwell therein, even they and their children, and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever.
See that? So there's a hierarchy where David is not going to sit on the top of Yahweh Shah. Go to Luke real quick. We're going to come back to Hosea, but go to Luke chapter what? Chapter 1. Let me get there myself. I'll tell you what verse. Luke chapter 1, and maybe it's going to be Luke chapter 3. Let me make sure. Where am I? Yeah, this is the angel coming to Mary. I want you to read verse 30. Start off at verse 30. Luke chapter 1, verse 30. And you're going to read all the way down to verse 33, okay?
Yeah. Luke chapter 1 and verse 30. And the angel said unto her, Fear not, Mary, for thou hast found favor with the Most High. And behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb, and bring forth a son, and shall call his name Yahushai. He shall be great, and shall be called the Son of the Highest. And the Lord power shall give unto him the throne of his father David.
So David, the throne was David's from the beginning. The Most High told him in 2 Samuel chapter 7, man, because you wanted to honor me with a house, I'm going to build your house. And to your house, there will be no end. There will never lack a son to sit on the throne of David. That's what was promised to him. And then that promise is repeated all throughout the book of Psalms. But the final one, who was always from the beginning, as early as what? As Genesis chapter 49 and verse 10, the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet till Shiloh come. Talking about Yahweh Shai. And then that's in Zechariah chapter 9 as well. Behold, thy king cometh. It's always been Yahweh Shai, but David was the one who the Most High used to establish the throne and the house. Which, in other words, which tribe? Judah. Which of all the fathers, out of all the heads of Judah, which one? It was Jesse. That's why you read chapter 11. It says what? And there shall come forth a branch out of Jesse, and one of his roots shall be the branch. I'm butchering it, of course, but it's Isaiah chapter 11 and verse 1, making reference to what? Jesse was that special house. But Jesse wasn't the first. Obed was his father, right? So David, once again, read verse 32 once more. I'm going to get this out and finish it up with 33.
Verse 32 of Luke chapter 1. He shall be great and shall be called the Son of the Highest. And the Lord power shall give unto him the throne of his father David.
So that means what? The scripture is speaking metaphorically in Hosea chapter 1 and verse 11, where we're going to choose. The leader's already been chosen by the Most High. Go ahead, Ak.
Verse 13. And he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end.
Check that out. And that's around the corner. The mark of the beast. I don't know if you were here on me yet. Earlier in the broadcast, we determined we would be referring to that thing that's being imposed on everybody now as Super Bowl tickets. Right? Isn't that what it was, right? Super Bowl tickets?
Right. Yep.
So from now on, whenever we want to talk about that thing, you got to remember Super Bowl tickets, and the Super Bowl tickets are actually the mark of Zorro.
Okay.
I'm saying that because this is how we get to keep our YouTube channel and we get to talk about this issue.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl tickets are the mark of Zorro, y'all. Just dropping it on you, man. Be not deceived. If anybody, brother, this death is going to be starting pretty soon. This mass death. Okay. And you're not going to know, no one in that room whose heart has been sincere is not going to regret it. You're going to be glad that you were inconvenienced. You're going to be glad that that's what you have to offer to Christ as a token of your faith, man. What you put yourself through on behalf of others, even if the others did not appreciate it. That's what makes what you donated, that's what makes what you tolerated and endured more valuable in the eyes of the Most High.
I had a question, Colin Cobb.
Yeah, brother.
It's been on my mind for a minute. The grievous sword, is that grievous sword a physical sword that comes as an affect?
You're talking about in chapter 14 or chapter 16, right?
No.
Chapter 16 and verse 1 and 2 of Revelation.
Yeah.
Listen, let's finish this up. Let's go back to Hosea chapter 1 and verse 11, and then we'll come to that. We're going to go from there to Revelation chapter 16.
All right.
Let's just put the icing on this one.
No problem.
Go ahead, Akamiyatazah.
Hosea chapter 1 and verse 11. Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together and appoint themselves one head, and they shall come up out of the land, for great shall be the day of Jezreel.
Yeah, man. Now imagine that now. So what day is it gonna be, y'all? You know, let's say we got this group of Israelites, and I love them brothers because I came up with them, and I can't, man, you know, like I said, man, it just, to me, I think Israel, I shouldn't say I think, it's crystal clear because we can read it in the Bible. We just don't learn our lessons. Every time members from among us have sought to establish, and they start off with the right intention, wanting to establish more order with the intention of giving more direction, right, and bringing more unity. But then there always emerges from there ones that want to take and be the spearhead of that, and that's where the crime come in. It all started with the king, this one, and then the chief high priest, this one, and then the comforter. Now the commanding general and the deacon is supposed to be, or the bishop is supposed to, Nathaniel is supposed to be, John, not John, Elijah in the reincarnation. It's all so now we got the Mahashara, Yasharallah, the government of Israel, brother. That the government of Israel is coming. You better fight like hell just to be declared one of the subjects.
Government of Israel.
It's just getting fucking stupid, man. That's all I can say. It's just we don't learn. We, Israel, do not learn.
Niggas.
Let's say I'm wrong about that breakdown. Let's say I went to chapter 34 and was wrong. I went to chapter 37 and was wrong. I went to Luke chapter 1 and was wrong. And let's say that verse 11 is saying that it's not speaking symbolically or metaphorically or parabolically. Let's say there is a group that got to choose who the leader is. What makes you think you're a member of it? Oh, it's Israel is too proud, huh? Then woe to the nigga who get chosen. Because now he's what? He's running around here edging Christ out the picture. I
want to know how this governing body was elected.
Brother, it's not by themselves. It's just, and like I said, I know they don't mean wrong. I know that without a reason of a doubt, because I know that some of the humblest brothers are, and the Most High used those very brothers to teach me brotherhood, the heads of them brothers. Them brothers taught me love. I was a bitter, evil, hateful brother, man. Them brothers was from the camp. Now, don't get me wrong. I got it from the Mount Zion, my camp as well. But them brothers from the Sons of Thunder, they made me feel a different type of special. I ain't gonna lie. And they I don't even know if they knew what I was going through when I first got there in my mind, because they was just all in to invite me to their camp and wanting to share the time. Here, Cop, take the mic. They were an integral part of the transformation that I underwent. They were the instruments that the Most High used to facilitate the transformation that I underwent. The Mount Zion and the brothers from the Sons of Thunder and all them cats up in New York, ain't nowhere in the world I would have did it without brothers like Tahar. Tahar was just his way of keeping me humble. Simple and plain, That was the Most High showed me with respect to me, that was his mission in life, to keep me humble. And then he did that well. And he always did it out of love. But somewhere along the line, Israel don't be learning those lessons. And I can tell you the problem. The key is because deep down inside, we haven't mastered or accepted that we are nothing. That's what we haven't accepted. That's the only thing. That's the one thing that if you haven't, it won't allow you to even receive another person nominating you as a head or asking you to be the member of the governing body. You got to be humble on your own and say, brother, what are you talking about? Well, if it is, I'm not fit for that. All that's going to be determined at that great coronation ceremony that Ezra saw in 2 Ezra chapter 2. Christ is giving out the crowns, not us. Niggas running like there's a shelf of crowns and everybody's a free-for-all grabbing their shelves like a Black Friday crown sale. This Black Friday at fucking Walmart and there's all the Israelite crowns and niggas just stampeding to get to the biggest one. That ain't gonna happen. Christ is handing out these crowns. And his is the biggest one and he's the most exalted. And we would do good to learn and accept that and inculcate that right now before he comes. Okay, Yatazar, we're done with that. Real quick, let's go to Revelation chapter 16, and let's see what Dawiyat asked about. verse 1 and 2.
Revelation chapter 16 and verse 1.
Uh-huh.
And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of the Most High upon the earth. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth. And there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image.
So everybody that goes out and get them Super Bowl tickets, guess what's taking place right now? Right from the time that they get it, their body is creating microclots where their blood is clotting up. I didn't see images. I don't know if you can get them on the Yekazah, pictures and videos of people's blood. Some of them have been rescued, from the death. Others, they have to pull it off of their organs, where it looks like, y'all remember back in the day that the cranberry sauce that they used to have at the Thanksgiving, how it was solid, like a solid jello, and then they had to make it in slices. Do y'all remember that? That's how it looks like. That's how people's blood look. It can't even pass through the circulatory system. They're having strokes if the thrombosis, which is blood clotting, the medical term, appears in the brain. Then they're having strokes. If it appears too close to the heart, they're having heart attacks. And if it appears in the extremities, it's so severe that people are having their extremities amputated. It's talking real physical, Dawiyah.
Okay.
The grievous sore is true, straight up, a true sickness. That's what it is. And now that's just the obvious. In the meantime, the mark or the mark of Zorro or the Super Bowl ticket results. I listened to an article. I read an article and listened to an interview where the person, from the time that they get it, every week they lose 5% of their immune system. So 5 times what is 100? 5 times 20. So after 20 weeks divided by how many weeks is 20? How many months is 20 weeks?
Oh, months. That's should be 4, right? Hold on.
All right. By then, their immune system is destroyed. These are all the various aspects of the grievous sores. You have people that have
5 months. That's like 5 months.
There, you listen, and that's what people started saying when it first came out. When they was talking about the Super Bowl tickets, they were saying between 5 and 6 months. They were saying between 3 and 6 months, you're gonna start seeing these people suffer big time, dropping dead. Listen, there are pilots. Where was it? I'm trying to think of what place was it. It was in the States where a flight had to make an emergency landing because a pilot who had gotten his Super Bowl tickets died, and the co-pilot had to take over, and they had to reroute and make an emergency landing, and they wouldn't tell the passengers on board. Well, that's just been happening a lot, People dying behind the trucks, people dying on motorcycles, walking down the street, dropping dead. The grievous sore is all of the physical ailments that result from having received your Super Bowl tickets. Simple and plain. I've listened to a couple of journalists speak, and they've been monitoring the different athletes that have received their Super Bowl tickets. Patrick Mahomes ain't functioning like he did before. This is what happened with Simone Biles,
What?
Yeah, people, y'all, where y'all be at? Damn news y'all be listening to. Simone Biles, all the whole Olympic team had to receive Super Bowl tickets before they went to Japan. And then when she kept on saying, I'm having mental health, it was messing with her and Naomi Osaka as well. They both kept making issue. My mental health is more important. And she was going to be an astronomical star, but she ended up having to settle for silver and bronze. Y'all know that. because it altered her ability to command her body in all of those awkward positions. And it's doing the same with Patrick Mahomes and a few people that are in the NFL that have gotten it. The Super Bowl ain't no joke. Did I tell you to go anywhere? Read verse 2 one more time. Are you muted? Yes, you are.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Revelation 16 and verse 2. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image.
There you go, man. You got the mark of Zorro. Okay. So is that straight enough for you, Dawiyad?
Yeah, Carl, I'm good with that.
Yeah, and you got to just look up and get the sources, man. You know, band.tv, Brighteon.com, Dr. Carrie Madej, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, Dr. Lee Merritt, right? These are all the people and more that are talking about it, giving you the truth. And so they're calling, as a result of, they're calling people that have received their Super Bowl tickets, that have received their full Super Bowl tickets, right? Popcorn and all and shit. When they catch it, when they get sick, they're calling it a breakthrough or a breakaway COVID case. They refuse to say, oh, they got their Super Bowl tickets and got sick. You see who just died? Colin Powell.
Yep.
Nigga had both of them, both Super Bowl tickets. And he didn't even like football. Right? Now, why would a person battling cancer worry about the fucking flu?
Yeah, damn right.
Shit.
You got a bigger problem in your hands.
Yeah, man. You got the sea, nigga. You got the crab, motherfucker. You got greater things to worry about.
Yeah.
So that's what that is, Dawiyad. All right.
No.
Okay, y'all. Let's go back to Romans chapter 11 and let's see how far we can get. So on the Yatazah, Romans chapter 11. You read read verse 13 once more.
Romans chapter 11 and verse 13. For I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify mine office.
Go
If
ahead.
by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, I might save some of them.
Yeah, so that's proof that the Gentiles that he's talking to are what? The ones that are of his flesh. For I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I'm an apostle of the Gentiles, I mean, I am from among you, I magnify my office. If by any means I may provoke to emulation, that means to do what I do or to be better at what I do. That's what emulation is. Put emulation up on the screen, Amayatazah. I'm going to use the restroom real quick. I'll be right back, y'all. Okay, emulation. So this is what Paul wanted to inspire those which are his flesh to do. The act, you have to make it a little bigger, please. I can't see. Damn, brother. All right. The act of attempting to equal or excel in qualities or actions. Listen to this, man. Rivalry, desire of superiority. In other words, he was not only, and it gives you Romans 11, right? He was not only doing the work, he wanted to inspire and invest the quality of teaching in people that would result in them being more effective than he was at what he did. Because that's what emulation is. The act of attempting to equal or excel in qualities or actions. And what was that? That was toward those that are his flesh, those Gentiles, the ones that he said in chapter 9, that it was told them what? You are not my people. Well, in these other lands, it shall be said, you are the children of the living power. Thank you, Amayetazar. So go ahead and read verse 14 once more.
Romans chapter 11 and verse 14. If by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, I might save some of them.
Go ahead.
For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world.
So now we've gone through that, right? When it says if the casting away of Israel be the reconciling, that means what? That means when the Most High discarded us all the other nations came together to be used to facilitate. Go to Psalms 83. Let me show you that. Psalms 83, you're going to read verses 1 through 8. Go ahead and read on the yet. I have to plug in this therapy machine, man. You can read.
Psalm 83 and verse 1. Keep not thou silence, O power. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power.
Go ahead.
For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They
Let's
have
talk
taken
about all the nations that are the Most High's enemies, which are all of them. Go ahead.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Go ahead.
For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee.
Now that's the what? That's the reconciling of the world. They're all together to see to it that Israel what? That we stay in the corners. That the remembrance, continue to read Amayetazar.
Verse 6. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites, of Moab and the Hagarites, Gabal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Asa also is joined with them. They have holpen the children of Lot, Selah.
Go ahead.
Verse 9. Do unto them as unto the Midianites.
Okay, yeah. Read that verse again that says that they have that their purpose was that the name of Israel, call that be no more in remembrance. Call that verse out again.
Verse 4.
Yeah.
Psalm 83 and verse 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Right. Now, some in one of the chapters of Lamentation, let's go to Lamentation. Lamentations, y'all know, is just after the book of Jeremiah. Hold on, let me get there. I am looking for, it might be chapter, what I want is it might be in chapter 3, it might be in chapter 2, where it lets you know that the nations, those that saw her, it says their eyes said, oh, how does it go? I don't want to butcher it. This is the day that we wanted. It comes to where basically this is what they looked for. This was the day that they waited for. And it's it's chapter 2 and verse 16. I want to start off though in verse 15. Verse 15. Well, let's do this. Start off at verse 13, and you're going to read our target voice is verse 16. But I'm trying to show you a sense of what it's telling you in Romans 11 when it says that the nations, when Israel fell, that the world was reconciled, meaning they were joined, they were brought together and unified in what? In our downfall. Go ahead and read that out from verse 13 to 16, chapter 2 of Lamentation.
Lamentation chapter 2 and verse 13. What thing shall I take to witness for thee? What thing shall I liken to thee, O daughter of Jerusalem? What shall I equal to thee, that I may comfort thee, O virgin daughter of Zion? For thy breach is great like the sea. who can heal thee?
Yeah, your wound, the Most High done smote you, and nobody could cure you. Go ahead.
Verse 14. Thy prophets have seen vain and foolish things for thee, and they have not discovered thine iniquity to turn away thy captivity.
In other words, all the preachers today won't teach Israel that you're against the Most High. You're doing what makes the Heavenly Father angry. You're the Israelite. They're teaching these people prosperity preaching. Name it and claim it and grab it and jab it. I'm just saying, that's what y'all know that's what they're teaching them. The gospel of this damn prosperity. They won't say that your daughters have to stop committing abortions. Your sons have to stop murdering one another. Your sons have to stop being sodomites. These are the pastors. Pastors say, come on over here. We got a spot in the choir for you. Where you can shake that ass and sing to the Lord. Go ahead. Talking to the men. Go ahead.
Verse 14. Thy prophets have seen vain and foolish things for thee, and they have not discovered thine iniquity to turn away thy captivity, but have seen for thee false burdens and causes of banishment.
Yeah, man. When it says false burdens, that's talking about what? A cause or a workload to take up. So what do the pastors all be talking about? You be seeing these cats, they be wanting you to join the band, come under the workforce of what? Of civil rights.
Nah.
Nigga, fuck you and your civil rights. These people have offended the Most High. They have no rights. That's what the Lord said. That's why we're in this condition. And the Lord said, you guys won't tell them their iniquity to turn away their captivity. You keep giving them false what? Burdens. That means you keep assigning them false causes to fight for. But those false causes, those false burdens, those undertakings, it results in their further banishment. It drives them farther away from me. That's what the Most High is saying. Run around here fighting, trying to make people let you come into their neighborhood. Nigga, I don't even want to live with you. All you do is talking about buy black. All you do is sell drugs and your women. Now you're starting to sell your children. Talking about buy black, buy black. Nigga, shut your ass up and go read Deuteronomy. Most High said he would curse everything that you would undertake to do. The pastors won't say that. So everything else is what? Is a false burden. That means it's a false undertaking. It's a task, because that's what a burden is. A burden is a workload. It's a task that what? That's designed to bring forth no fruit. It's a task that can't be fulfilled or completed. Because they don't understand they won't accept and tell the people the true nature of our plight. The true nature of our plight is one word and one word only: punishment. That's what it is. All those other names, like I said, racism, discrimination, you understand? Privilege, white privilege, so that means we're underprivileged. It's not none of that. It's we were disobedient and we're being punished. You want to stop being punished, or you want the Most High to look favorably upon you and extend more mercy than the ones that won't come back to him. Go ahead, Amiyatazar. False burdens and causes of banishment. Go ahead.
Lamentations chapter 2, verse 15. All that pass by clap their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem.
That's talking about all the nations. Like you go to touristy places like New York, you would think that the tourist buses would spend all of that time in mid-Manhattan. Brother, all they do is drive through Harlem. They used to drive through the Bronx. They drive through all the places to look, and you see all these damn Chinese people and people from Europe. They go up into the certain black churches where the niggas get to act like a bunch of damn Tarzan niggas showing out for the white man. Oh, Jesus. Oh, all that stuff. I used to live there. I saw that.
That's the worst of it.
Yeah, busload after busload, parking in front of the most popular church in Harlem, downloading all these Asians and Edomites so that they could go in there. Hold on, y'all. and after food, this might be an emergency. Hold on. We'll do it on that one. Hey, listen, I'm in class. Is everything all right? No, talk. I'll do that. I got about, let me see what time it is. I got about 20 minutes. I'm gonna have listen, go ahead in 20 minutes and have your Zoom up, and I'm gonna have me and I'm gonna chime in, okay? All right, shalom. All right, shalom. Hey, I'm you there, brother?
Might let the bathroom.
Okay, I'll let him know when he get back. So this is talking about every opportunity they get to witness and what and practice or demonstrate their disdain for us, they do so. That's what it means when it says, all that pass by clap their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, go ahead, Elisha, read that verse 15 in Lamentations chapter 2.
Lamentations 2, verse 15. All that pass by clap their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth?
Yeah, man. That's like, well, this, in other words, it's mockery. They see black women twerking at Walmart, fighting. They don't fight to the death. The black women fight to whoever's weave get pulled out and whoever's butt ass naked at the gas station convenience store. Y'all done seen them videos, right? They just fight until ain't nothing left but belly buttons and birthmarks. That's it. Belly buttons, nipples, damn a patch of pubic hairs and birthmarks. That's all they wear. That's how vicious they fight. And then they get up and walk around like they on swole after they just got off the bench press. Butt ass naked. Never mind. Oh shit, where my clothes at? That's what it means when it says, they said what? And this was supposed to be the beauty of perfection. They know that we've fallen and we don't know that we've fallen. They know the majesty of our history and we are clueless. Because why? Because we ain't going out like that, whatever that is. What, nigga, you ain't going out fully clothed? That what you saying? I ain't going out like no sucker. What, suckers wear drawers and clothes to cover their ass? So you're gonna fight it out at a gas station convenience store till there's nothing left to you but pubic hairs, nipples, birthmarks, and belly buttons, and crusty toenails. I used to, damn, and then every Jake there, thousands of them, everybody like this, screaming, world star, world star. That's what they do. And that's what the nations see. And they say, yeah, these supposed to be the beauty of perfection or the perfection of beauty. I'm yet to stop. When we're done, we got a council. You got to chime into Izar's Zoom, all right?
Okay.
Just call. Go ahead, I'm yet to read verse 15. Huh?
I've got to show you something.
Okay. Oh, is this one going to give me nightmares, brother?
No.
This one's so bad it'll give a nigga a daymare, huh? What you got, brother? Cops say people who stood, yeah, I heard about this. Stood and watched an illegal immigrant rape a woman on a Philly SEPTA train while they filmed his attack won't face charges for not intervening. You see what I'm saying, Evil, like, and this is the city of brotherly love, motherfucking Philadelphia. Where's this nigga from? Somalia?
Oh no, where's he from?
Congo.
Where?
Congo.
I didn't hear what you
Congo.
said.
Congo.
Oh, Congo? This nigga look like an Israelite, huh?
No, that's not. Wow.
You see what I'm saying? He don't look like one of them monstrous Hamites. But you never know. He definitely acting like an Israelite. And the people filmed it out. You know, no, and that's why the Lord said, because what does it say? The love of men shall wax cold, evil shall abound. That's some hateful shit to watch a woman in duress like that. And you're like, you're not in the truth. You know me. I ain't gonna be no Superman either. That's why I try to be in places where I'm not gonna be put in that position, because I understand is Ecclesiastes, where the Most High said there be spirits of vengeance. But look at what this is. Imagine someone's daughter, your sister, needing that help, huh? And it ain't hard to whoop up on niggas anyway. That's a whole different thing. Shit. You know? Nigga with a heart on ain't got too much defense, huh? I'm saying. You know, not unless he plan on making a victim out of you, not unless you the target.
I won't be surprised if the shit is on World Star, like you said.
Hey, listen, I wouldn't go look for it, Doc. It's poison. It's poison to hear somebody screaming frantically. I don't know if y'all ever heard somebody scream, a woman scream like that. That's why girls, they're not supposed to play and be loud like that, because their voice is their first line of defense. It's supposed to be alarming and send chills through you to hear that woman that really need help scream like that. Thank you for that, Amayatazar, because that's what the nations be seeing out.
Yeah.
Read that verse 16. Read verse 15 and 16.
Lamentation chapter 2 and verse 15. All that pass by clap their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? All thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash their teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up.
Hold on. Who have swallowed her up?
Enemies.
We. It's talking about them. What are we doing, y'all? We're breaking down. We're trying to get a little bit more information on Romans chapter 11 and verse 15, where it says, for if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world. I'm telling you, when we were cast away, who did the Most High use to cast us away? He used them. Their reconciliation was what? Was in that they were unified participants in our banishment, in our punishment. And that's why we went to the first verse that we went to, Psalm 83. They were confederate in seeing to it that the name of Israel be no more in the earth. Here it's telling you what? This is what we've accomplished what we set out to do. Read verse 16 again from the top.
Verse 16 of Lamentation chapter 2. All thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash the teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly, this is the day that we looked for. We have found, we have seen it.
What day is that? We just read it in Psalms 83 and verse 4. That we be no more, that our name, that who we are, and that spirit, that we be that degraded. That's what verse 15 is saying. But it's coming back and saying, so if the world came together in their downfall, imagine what it's going to be like when they come back, but life from the dead. Go back on the Yetazah and read that. Romans chapter 11 and verse 15 once more.
Romans chapter 11, verse 15. For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be life from the dead.
Right. Go ahead.
Verse 16. For if the first fruit be holy,
So
the
life
lump
from
is-
the dead, that's talking about the magnificent process that we're under right now. What shall the receiving of them be? This is the Most High receiving us. And let me say this, I hope you brothers are praying for the Most High to cause this thing to jump off as fast as possible, because it ain't going to be until then that the Most High show the world that he's with us and that he's against them. That's in 2nd Ezra chapter 16. The Most High said it's not going to be until they start casting those that fear the Lord out of their homes. Until they start what? Start being like madmen and sparing none of us. He says, then shall it be known whom are my chosen. And I will bring them through the fire and try them as gold. Hear, O my people, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver thee from the same. It ain't gonna happen until that shit get like that for us. But that's what we want. We want the Most High to show the nations they're back. I'm receiving them. This is life from the dead. You thought it was great when they fell and you all had a part in it. Wait till I bring them back and see what's gonna happen to y'all. You want to see dead men walk? Most High raising us up now, and that's in the scriptures. After 3 days and a half, the spirit of life entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them that saw them. That's in Revelation chapter 11. Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 10, and I prophesied as I commanded, and they stood upon their feet, an exceeding great army. These are the once dead men that have been, the Most High is receiving us again. So he's saying the fall was great, but the resurrection and the receiving of us is incomparable. And we want that day to come. We want the niggas to go out. We want everybody that's marked, going out there and get your Super Bowl tickets. What you waiting on? Run around here straddling the fence. Go to the game, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Go to the game. They said it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a 4th inning clincher. Some of you might have to go to the parking lot, buy your tickets from a scalper. Some of you got season tickets, but get them, please, so we can get this thing underway. Now that sounds like a cruel thing to say, but it ain't, because the Most High said those that get them Super Bowl tickets, it says their names have not been written in the Lamb's book of life from the foundation of the earth. They're already marked for that, just like we're already predestined to be made conforming to the image of Christ. So I ain't cursing nobody. I'm just saying, let's get this damn football game on the road. Nigga, right now, it's like they out there singing the national anthem over and over again. Ah, the Rocket, you know, go on and get some Super Bowl tickets, nigga. Kick off. And nigga, I'm waiting for kickoff, y'all. Look, all them cheerleaders, the marching band, all of that. Get all the Super Bowl halftime game. Beyonce, Prince out there singing in the rain. Damn, they got electrocuted. Come on, man. Let's get this game on the road. Super Bowl, baby. Maka Zorro. Yeah, y'all ever seen Zorro, right? Motherfucking Antonio Banderas walk back and forth and
Yeah.
gave niggas the mark.
Black hat.
You got a little Zorro hat and shit, yeah, nigga.
With the band-aid.
Yeah, man. Like nobody supposed to know who he is with that little strap around his face. Like Superman. Nobody, just nigga put a pair of glasses on. Nobody said, you know, you got a striking resemblance to fucking Superman, man. Oh shit, look, where my glasses? Oh, dude, who are you? Have I, you know, and obviously you don't recognize niggas. Imagine me putting glasses on, you guys just not knowing me. I just put some glasses on, I disappeared. Fucking Harry Potter glasses or something. Anyway, Marcus Zorro Super Bowl tickets are on sale. We got to ask the Most High to do that, because that's what this is about. Our upcoming out. This is about us being received. This is about the Most High showing the world all along who he was with, and that he was just chastising us. And this is, you know why I'm so excited? Because we just got through reading in Ezekiel chapter 34, Ezekiel chapter 37, Luke chapter 1, that this kingdom to come is not going to have an end. Like, this is the last ride, man. Who wouldn't be excited? Who wouldn't be ready for this thing to finally be over? Even though the future is unfathomable, it is pleasantly unfathomable. I don't have an idea what it's going to be like. You know, I'm used to clocks. You know, I just told the brother, all right, I got 20 more minutes and we're calling it in. And time, what is it like? What is eternity like? Now, let alone eternity, what is immortality like? What is it to be an entity that exists within the what? The paradigm of immortality, within the paradigm of eternity. See, eternity already is, but we're finite. We are born and we die. We get sick, we get injured, we get hungry, we get constipated. Well, all these little things, right, that mark what finiteness is. Having what? Having an end. That's what finite means, having an end. But infinite has always been. That's been the Most High. But now we're being invited into being what? Integrants and members of what the paradigm of immortality, paradigm of eternity is. That's why I said it's unfathomable, but pleasantly so. And it's right, who knows what day it's going to be on. But we're right there because we're watching prophecy unfold. Everything is revolving around the damn Super Bowl tickets. That got to be the Marcus Zorro. All right, Satchmo, you're going to sing a song next week. Brother just hit us with a couple of notes. I'm a Yatazar. So we're clear on that. We're clear on verse 15. For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be? Did Yatazar drop off? But life from the dead. Okay, go ahead, read verse 16, and this is where we're going to finish it up.
Romans chapter 11 and verse 16. For if the first fruit be holy, the lump is also holy. And if the root be holy, so are the branches.
So there you go. The reason we're going to stop here is because this is what's going to take us into our next line of deep, let's say, I won't say deep, but of thorough examination. Because the people, that be the issue. What are the branches? The branches broken off, and then the branches that were grafted in. So we're going to go through that. We're going to pick that up next Friday. But the first fruit is referring to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He's saying if the first fruit are our forefathers. The first to be produced. So after the flood, who was the first of the seed of Adam that the Most High reached down and called? It was Abraham. And that promise was extended to him, made with him covenant, extended to Isaac, and then, like it says in the book of Psalms, confirmed with Jacob. And the confirmation came in the form of all of the tribes of Jacob receiving the laws. So he's saying if those first fruits, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, were holy, then so is the lump. That means everything that came from them. It goes on to say, and if the root, the very same, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, be holy, so are the branches. That means all the descendants, just like the movie Roots, right? It just took one cat from the West African slave trade and followed his family tree all the way up into whenever, right? Kunta Kinte, nigga with the half foot. Well, they chopped his foot off, actually. So this is where we're going to pick up going into reading about the branches so that from there more, there won't, in other words, from verses 17 to verse 21 is what we're going to really be dealing with respect to examining the branches. All right.
Wow.
All right, brothers.
The what?
Yeah, y'all, thank you for tolerating me. But y'all be strong and keep on fighting out. And let me say this, don't waver, do not waver now. You have to fight your weakness out. You have to confront your fears. If you think this is bad, wait till what happens come out. Wait, remember, the Most High he's not going to deliver us in the form that prevents us from having to suffer. The Most High's deliverance is always a Red Sea deliverance. We're going to have to stare death right down to the nose. And some of us are going to be martyred. That's in the scriptures. That's what Christ said in chapter 2. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. The devil shall cast some of thee into prison, that thou might be tried 10 days. I don't know if the 10 days is an actual 10 days or if it's symbolic for what it's saying, for however long you got to suffer. But how does he finish that verse? Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So that's what if you have it, the only thing that can prepare you to successfully and willingly be martyred, if that be your calling, is this process now. There's nothing you can do to, as a matter of fact, there's nothing that anybody can do to prepare for what's coming outside of what we've been doing. This is how you really prepare, right? This is how you prepare. You can't prepare the people thinking they own guns and stored up food and gold and, yeah, okay, listen, we would like to have as much as we can, but when it all comes down to it, it's all going to run out, right? Or it's all going to get seized. It's all going to get taken. The Most High, it's called salvation for a reason, because you're going to have to be saved from some pertinent, some peril that is right on you. So you guys stay in that fighting mentality, stay unified. You understand? Say no to the Super Bowl, like we boycotting the Super Bowl. All right?
Yeah.
All right, brothers. I'll see y'all on next Friday.
All right, shalom.
Wow.
Hold on.